Knowing that Ian Holton is actually his younger brother in disguise got Yoojin taken aback. The guests start talking about how the old man, Ian Holton, just stopped the magic beast using one hand. Henry asks Sir Holton about what's happening, and the old man explains that he used a defense item. This surprises everyone, for they honestly thought that the old guest was an awakened. They're technically not wrong since the Ian Holton before them is actually Yoojin. Hearing that comment gives Yoojin an idea, and he quickly takes over the situation by thanking Sir Holton in public. Out of nowhere, Yoojin announces that he thinks that Sir Holton will awaken as an S rank. This statement receives surprise and disbelief. The crazy woman again tries to discredit Yoojin by saying he is just showing off right now. She says that everyone knows that the existence of an S ranker is so low that she just finds Yoojin's claims to be lies. The crazy woman also points out that Sir Holton is already in his 90s. Hearing the disbelief makes Yoojin smile, and he announces that in exchange for saving him, he will awaken Sir Holton right at that moment. This garners another surprise amongst the guests. Yoojin holds on to the old man, explaining that though his magic beast taming skill isn't all-powerful, his evaluation skill actually is more than that. Yoojin whispers to his brother, asking what he is up to. Yoojin murmurs back that Yoojin should just play along with his bluff. Though he does have that kind of ability, Yoojin is confident that this kind of news will not get out of the auction since everything will soon end in mayhem. In case you've forgotten, MC can help an unawakened to awaken by applying his keyword to them. With those thoughts, Yoojin gets started, and his obedient younger brother plays along with his performance by summoning fire and flaring up the stage. As the bright light of the explosion dims, the guests are in for a treat, for Sir Ian Holton looks like an S-rank awakened. To demonstrate his newfound power, the now buff old man grabs the magic beast by its neck and throws it to the ground with one hand. This completely knocks out the magic beast, gaining the awe of everyone in the auction. The guests start questioning if Yoojin truly made Sir Holton into an awakened, and suddenly, they all start cheering with excitement. Henry looks at this change of atmosphere with amazement as he thinks how most of the guests in the secret auction are unawakened. So, after seeing Yoojin's awakening skill, everyone in the auction finds this more valuable than his magic beast taming skill, for which he is known. Aside from the power they hold over society, by becoming an awakened, they can willfully create their own army if they have access to such skill. Henry quickly gauges that the person who gets Yoojin Hun will undoubtedly gain national-level power. Greed really is something. Despite the incident, this guy is still calculating his possible profits. While Henry imagines how much he'll get from this auction, Sir Holton chops the handcuff to release Yoojin. It is then that the crazy woman announces that she likes that ability and swears that she will be buying him. Yoojin looks back at her with a smile, asking who even said so. His smile widens as he announces that he is using his rejection card on her. Everyone is surprised by this turn of events, and the crazy woman finally falters. Yoojin laughs as he says that this is why she should have listened to all the rules first. Henry then comes over to the spotlight and explains that Yoojin Hun has been given 3 rejection cards to ensure the item's motivation to cooperate with his buyer. He adds that the card can be used to ban or deny a buyer Yoojin doesn't like or use it to have the person he likes buy in. So, the real key to buying Yoojin Hun is the guest's ability to win his heart. Henry tells the crazy woman that due to the mess she made and Yoojin's use of a rejection card, she can't participate in the auction anymore. The crazy woman expresses her shock, and Yoojin further mocks her by asking if it is the first time an item has rejected her. That's all on you, lady. After all, you were so rude since the previous video. Yoojin then shifts his attention to the other guests by encouraging them to do their utmost to gain his affection. With one bidder out of the game, the guests start asking how they can do that and if they are supposed to hold a talent show or something. Yoojin admits it is a good idea, but for him, personality is the most significant criterion. Yoojin smiles while saying that since it is the first time they are meeting, he cannot really determine it. In order to do so, he announces the use of items. Yoojin then shouts for everyone to give him the best item they have in their person. He explains that he can evaluate them through their brilliance in obtaining invaluable items and how willing they are to give it without faltering. Yoojin announces that this is how they can qualify as the master of his skills. To further incite the guests, Yoojin says the items will be returned after the auction. Seeing the price they have to pay, the guests ponder if this is even safe and the risks that come with doing as Yoojin instructed them. One of the masked guests tells the others not to give up an item and by doing so will turn back the auction to standard procedure. Another guest rejects this, saying it could be their chance. Well, there's no way everyone would give up on this chance anyway. Every guest in that auction is undoubtedly selfish and greedy after all. Atop the stage, Yoojin smiles, already expecting that something like this will happen. He thinks of what he needs most right now when a golden chain suddenly snakes its way toward Yoojin. The chain suddenly wraps around Yoojin and pulls him up into the air. With the chain binding him, Yoojin knows who it belongs to and thinks that he doesn't want this much. A blonde man holding the other end of the chain calls out Yoojin's arrogance. Yoojin smiles as he says that an item like Yoojin should act like one and be humble. Yoojin sweats, wondering what kind of concept Yoojin is going for. Yoojin frowns, commenting on Yoojin's harsh treatment despite them knowing each other. Yoojin claims this is exactly why he is teaching Yoojin, saying how he has always been so full of himself. You were talking about yourself, right? The guests are surprised by the CC Guildmaster's attendance. Some of the guests suddenly encourage Yoojin to do more against Yoojin. This makes Yoojin pale, unable to deny anymore that these guests are really a bad bunch who have broken moral compasses. A hand suddenly grabs at the chain and pulls at it. Sir Holton/Lil Bro intervenes, telling the CC Guildmaster to stop. It becomes a battle of nerves, and Yoojin asks what Yoojin is even doing, commenting on how he never thought Yoojin could be violent to an item. Seeing this, the guests can feel the overwhelming unleashed power of the two S-rankers. One even comments on how a 90-year-old man is having a face-off of strength against the CC Guildmaster. They now cannot deny the astounding effects of awakening. Yoojin finally lets go of his main equipment, releasing Yoojin in the process. He then claims that he is giving Yoojin his chain and asks if this guarantees his win. Everyone is shocked by what Yoojin just did. Yoojin thinks that an S-rank weapon is no doubt unmatched by any of the items that the other guests may have, even if combined. He knows that by giving this, the others will be more willing to give something as well. So Yoojin announces that he is using another rejection card for Yoojin's display of aggression. By doing this, he just removed the highest contender in the bidding match. Following this, Sir Holton gives a golden A-rank bracelet. Yoojin gladly accepts the item, saying it is actually much better. Receiving an A-rank item offers hope to the other guests, making it seem possible to win Yoojin's affection. With this renewed hope, an old lady suddenly wraps Yoojin in a blue S-rank shawl called Maga's Shawl of Waves, asking if he likes it. Henry then announces the third item was given by Kiara Gray. Suddenly, a man comes up and makes Yoojin wear an S-rank bracelet. Another offers a robe, a guy gives him A-rank earrings, then there's also someone who offers an S-rank necklace. The items start to increase, and everyone who gives up an item is announced. Yoojin looks at this scene, thinking how these people are keeping high-rank items even though they never go inside a gate. He is well aware that they only want to gain more power through him. Yoojin looks over at the locked-up hunters, thinking how the people in that auction don't care a single bit about how hunters are having a hard time with the continuously rising price of equipment that can ensure their survival within a dungeon. Seeing this, Yoojin thinks that he should start now. A guest notices the disappearance of the CC Guildmaster, while another mentions that the S-ranker probably went home since Yoojin used the rejection card on him. Unbeknownst to the guests, Yoojin is outside with Manhwa, who is in his dragon form. The two look down at everything as Yoojin announces that he will start the cleanup as he was ordered to do so by Yoojin Hun. Yoojin's golden eyes begin to shine as lightning crackles all over Hong Kong. Oh, is he going to create a storm in HK? Some of the guests were startled by the sudden thunder, wondering if it had just struck something nearby even though there was no rain forecast. Atop the building, Yoojin summons lightning using his skill and blasts it everywhere in the surrounding buildings like a maestro holding a symphony. The electricity in the building around them starts to die. Noah adjusted all of the lightning rods in the nearby buildings to make this happen. Aside from that, he is in charge of scattering magic stones on the beach as instructed by Yoojin. By doing these, the buildings are now in pitch darkness, with only a single hotel as an exception. And this is the hotel where the secret auction is happening. Huh? Are they planning to attract the attention of everyone around them? Inside the hotel, Yerim turns on all the lights and moves the curtains. She then wonders if everything is set up for what they intend to do. The hotel stands tall with its bright lights as if serving as a beacon of light in the dark night. The magic stones that Noah scattered lead from the hotel to the sea as if lighting the way. There is no doubt that this is a sight to behold if you are seeing it, even if you are deep under the sea. Going back to our MC, Yoojin is already weary of the items that he is wearing and the people who keep on putting those on him. Yoojin looks at himself, commenting on how there are a lot of items given that it seems like everything is worth more than his body. This makes the guests laugh, and Yoojin smiles as he announces that they should now start the actual game. But before doing so, he asks if any of the guests will voluntarily let him go if they do win the bid. The question makes everyone pause, and even Henry asks Yoojin about it. Yoojin explains how even if he is getting sold, he still has those who are like family waiting for his return. So, he wants to establish a cooperative relationship without the cold-hearted contract between the bidder and the item. Yoojin's explanation only garners laughter from the bidders. They mock Yoojin for thinking that he still has his rights, and as if there would be anyone like that in such a place. Like I said, selfish and greedy. Yoojin smiles at finally being able to confirm that everyone there is all in it together. With that, he stores all of the items he received in his inventory and announces that he will share those with hunters who need them in fighting inside the gates. Everyone is confused by Yoojin's actions, and some even believe that this is still part of the show since Yoojin even told them that he'll return them. Another guest suddenly screams, pointing at a glasses-wearing server who is taking the hunters she just won from the auction. Yerim tells the guest not to mind her since she's only cleaning. With what's happening, the guests start complaining to Henry, asking him for an explanation. Holding Chirpy in his hands, Yoojin looks up as he announces that it is now starting. He sees Noah flying up above the windowed ceiling. Noah then crashes to get in, creating havoc in the process. Announcing the grand cleanup, everyone runs for their lives as Noah drops to the floor. Some are even wondering if there is a dungeon break. Aha, these people want to bid on our MC. Yet they never did their research about him and those around him. Noah then shoots poison out of his mouth, and this incites the guests to run further. Chirpy, Yoojin, and Yoo Hee-yoon climb on Noah's back while people run away. Yoojin compliments Noah for the impeccable timing, and Noah says they'll get out right now, so they should better hold on. As they fly outside into the night sky, Yoojin looks back to check on Yerim. Yerim is flying right behind them with hunters in tow. Still, another person manages to hold onto Yerim's leg, escaping the mayhem happening in the hotel. Yerim shouts to have the guy removed from her, but Henry is angry that his merchandise is being taken. Henry exclaims at what Yoojin said about coming out on his own, but seeing the trouble Yoojin caused his customers, he swears never to let him go. He then yaps on about having the world's influential and rich come after Yoojin. Time and place, dude, don't you know that your life is already on the line here? Yoojin tells Henry not to worry as he smiles at him. He promises that things won't get out about the auction since the thing coming up from beneath will surely eat everyone left in there. Henry continues to cling to Yerim, though clearly confused by what Yoojin just said. He asks Yoojin who he is talking about when a massive swirl of water rises up, making Henry shout out loud. As they continue to fly, Yoojin instructs Yerim to keep Henry hanging onto her in the meantime. Henry continues to shout and asks about what is happening. He starts mentioning the water spout right in front of the hotel when red eyes flash from its dark center. Tentacles suddenly shoot up and a four-eyed kraken appears, entangling itself to the hotel. To make everyone understand what's happening, the huge population of Hong Kong also means a significant number of gates appear in the area. Before Yoojin turned back time, the city already met its downfall, and this was caused by the rare underwater gates appearing offshore. Many of these gates erupted into dungeon breaks for remaining undiscovered, and the monsters that have come out simply lived in the deep sea. Let's do another flashback. Yoojin talks about how, late the previous year, an S-rank dungeon boss was discovered and identified as a rank 2 sea creature type, Kraken. Hearing this, Hee-Yuan-jae mentions that it would surely be labeled as undefeatable since it is a massive underwater monster. Yoojin confirms that the monster only stays underwater, but Yoojin has knowledge of its habits. He then announces that it is the perfect time and place to drag it out. Yoojin intends to use the info he got before turning back time. He recalls that due to a different dungeon break in the city, everyone was evacuated, so the waterfront was dark. In that dark city, a single building was lit up to serve as the hunter's dwelling for the time being. It was on that night that the Kraken appeared, destroying everything it could reach with its tentacles, and this became the city's symbol of downfall in Yoojin's previous life. Now, the same thing is happening before them, only this time the Kraken is aiming for the hotel where the secret auction was held. Yoojin smiles, happy that the environment was set up perfectly for this. As for Henry Gregson, the insufferable man is still shouting, worried for his auction and the customers he had gathered in that place. He is about to scream out more, but a red string suddenly wraps around Henry, pulling him to the ground. Yerim and the rest look down, seeing that the person who pulled Henry was the CC Guild Master. Hee-Yuan-jae asks Henry if he is the organizer and tells the others to leave the guy there for the cleanup. Yerim excitedly asks if he saw the octopus that is as big as the hotel. No one can miss something that massive. Yerim. She then stops her chatting when she's instructed to get ready. Yoojin looks from above the kraken and the hotel as he reminds everyone that they will catch it as soon as it finishes the cleanup of the auction house and before it returns to the sea. Yoojin asks if they remember how. At the same time, Yerim prepares herself by placing the hunters on safe ground and bringing out her Parmeni's frostwood trident. Yoojin then reminds everyone of the plan to collect items, get rid of the human traffickers, and save the city. With that, Yoojin activates his skill, Stern Mother Hen Drill Surgeon, while thinking how they should kill all the birds using one stone and go home right after. The Kraken is an S-rank monster that was known as Hong Kong's greatest disaster before Yoojin's regression. The hunt for this monster remained unsuccessful for 5 years because of its fleeing habit when the odds were not in its favor. Now, in the present, Yoojin reminds everyone of the trick to lure it out using lights, so they must bring the Kraken entirely to the ground. He then tells everyone to make sure that their timing is right. You're using your sense-sharing skill, so everyone will get it right for sure. Yerim waves her trident, raising the water up high while Hyunjae prepares to unleash his lightning. By timing it right to the surge of seawater, Hyunjae must release electricity. Followed by this is Yerim's frosty sigh. The use of her skill lets her trap the electricity in ice before it disappears. Golden lights shine in the dark night, and it successfully catches the attention of the Kraken, who was at the top of the hotel. I'm not sure if that is scientifically possible, but it sure does look lovely. Yerim comments on how pretty it is, similar to a Christmas decoration. Yoojin smiles at this, saying how Yoo Hyun's birthday is on Christmas, and it is almost that time of the year again. Yerim frowns at this, hearing again how much Yoojin goes crazy for his brother. Hyunjae joins the chat, saying his birthday is on August 30, and it is closer. Yoojin frowns, saying no one cares. This makes Yerim comment about hypocrisy. Wait, does that mean Big Bro mentioned Lil Bro's birthday is around the corner when the current story timeline is only the middle of the year? Yerim shouts about how the Kraken is now completely on the land. She then dashes towards it while telling Hyunjae that they should tie its feet. Hyunjae complies and brings about another round of lightning. He aims this time at the hotel, completely breaking its upper part to crash on the Kraken's head. Yerim flies up in the sky, watching it happen. She claims that she might be a lousy matchup with its attribute, but she can still freeze the debris and hinder its escape. As she does this, the water crystallizes into ice, stopping the Kraken from moving further. Seeing this, Yoojin compliments Yerim for being so bright. Yoojin looks back at his brother, saying that it will be hard to keep it there for long, so they better eliminate it soon. Yoo Hyun looks at the enemy, pondering the possibility. Seeing this, Yoojin assures his brother of his strength and reminds him that he has the first fire elemental that manifested in the world and its purest flame. As Yoojin says this, Iron fires up. Yoojin holds his brother on the shoulders, sharing his veteran F-ranker skill using his +1 skill. Side note for those who forgot, veteran F-ranker doubles the effect of attack skills, while +1 lets MC share his skill by touching. Now that he is experiencing his brother's skill for himself, Yoo Hyun is a bit surprised. On top of using 2 skills, Yoojin is using the Stern Mother Hen Drill Surgeon's skill to share Yerim's senses with Yoo Hyun and teach him how to embrace Iron's power. Yoojin guides his brother through it, and Yoo Hyun soon understands. Flames suddenly burst from both Yoo Hyun and Iron, and Yoo Hyun tells his brother that he now gets it. Yoojin looks at his brother and Iron with surprise. Bright red flames burn. Yoo Hyun's eyes have turned red, and Iron looks like flaming lava. If you're wondering why MC is not combusting, it is because of Yunhei. They didn't say it here in the manhwa, but it was mentioned in the web novel. Yoo Hyun looks at Iron and says that they should start now. As he does so, Iron's flames burn brighter and larger, and then it shoots fire. The tiny spark causes so much destruction that even Yoojin gets overwhelmed by it. Recovering his senses, he tells everyone to move away as far as they can. Yoo Hyun then summons fire in his hand and makes it more prominent. Yoojin keeps his hold on his brother despite getting another surprise. Yoo Hyun just formed a weapon using the flames. Oh, that's really convenient. Yoo Hyun then slashes it, sending a wave of fire to the Kraken's tentacle. His attack successfully cuts it off, making the Kraken screech in pain. Yoojin observes his brother, thinking how ordinary fire wouldn't be able to maintain his shape. He recalls his previous life, where his brother was only able to achieve it after his skills ranked up and gained black blood flames. And yet, in this life, Yoo Hyun can do such a thing even without the black blood flames. Yoo Hyun relishes the fact that the flames are continuously burning and easily take shape in his hand, With that thought, he pulls back and then throws his fiery weapon toward the kraken. The weapon reaches its eye, and it creates a massive explosion upon contact with the S-rank monster. The fiery weapon that Yu He-yun had just thrown lodged itself in the kraken, making the beast scream in agony. As the flames disappear, nothing is left of the kraken. Everyone is surprised at how the kraken was easily taken care of and that even the whole area disappeared into nothing along with it. Yoojin curiously looks at his brother, wondering if sharing veteran F-ranker skill was even necessary, seeing that the elemental's power is more overwhelming than he initially thought. Since they are now done with cleaning up using water and sterilizing using fire, Yoojin deems it safe to go back since no evidence will point this incident to them. The bidders of the auction are now gone, and Yu He-yun even saved his brother and eradicated an S-rank monster. Yoojin looks at He-yun-jae, who still has Henry wrapped, and thinks that the guilds will handle the awakened they rescued. As for the items, Yoojin somehow remembers and brings out He-yun-jae's chains to give them back. He then sees the item stats, identifying it as the refined Seeker's chains with a maximum rank of myth, but otherwise, it depends on its contractor's rank +1. The description says it has been crafted by Crescent Moon with a metal-like look, but the essence is light. Lol. It'll only be E rank at most if our MC holds onto it. Yoojin thinks about the forger Crescent Moon, recalling Nubi's words about Crescent Moon being related to He-yun-jae. He then wonders if He-yun-jae has a contract with the Imworld people. Yoojin remembers that one loses memories because of his turning back of time, but he still doubts this a bit. So Yoojin tries to slyly ask He-yun-jae about it, but the other's response is lackluster. So Yoojin thinks he might have guessed it wrong. As He-yun-jae looks up at the moon, he suddenly remarks how the fight might not be totally over yet. Yoojin turns to look at what He-yun-jae means, but Yu He-yun suddenly grabs him by the waist, and a huge explosion suddenly bursts. Yoojin pales as He-yun-jae's chains float in the air. He-yun-jae says he appreciates that Yu He-yun even delivered it to him as the fire continues to burn around them. Yu He-yun has a sword out while carrying his big bro on his shoulder. Yoojin then asks his brother if there is a problem. Yu He-yun looks back, saying that he now finally understands after experiencing his brother's double effect on attack skill. He then talks about the past regarding what happened in the dungeon where Babar was. Yu He-yun then mentions everyone else who was in that dungeon and asks He-yun-jae if he intended to get rid of everyone there except for his brother. The question surprises Yoojin, and he asks his brother about it. As for the CC on Guildmaster, he smiles at this and comments on how Yu He-yun finally found out. Oh, this idiotic blonde guy. Why make Lil Bro more furious? Explosions that mix fire and lightning blast around them, and even the nearby civilians are evacuating, thinking it must be another dungeon break. They are confused as to why lightning is even striking despite the clear skies. Unbeknownst to these people, these destructions were all caused by two foreign S-rankers. He-yun-jae defends himself against Yu He-yun's attacks using his chains and lightning. Yu He-yun doesn't stop and throws more slashes of fire while carrying his older brother. Yoojin shouts to make his brother and He-yun-jae stop, but his words fall on deaf ears. Instead, the power they release gets bigger, creating more mayhem in the area they are in. Despite all this shouting, the two didn't listen. He starts thinking about what Yu He-yun said about He-yun-jae and if this occurred back when he fainted. Yoojin tries to recall what happened, scrutinizing every detail of what transpired during and after sharing the skill. He thinks that even if He-yun-jae succeeds, he will be done for because of his final thanks skill. Yoojin attempts to stop his brother from doing further damage, but Yu He-yun has truly lost it. Yu He-yun claims that He-yun-jae is the most dangerous person for his older brother. He reminds Yoojin how they only got related to Sudam because of He-yun-jae. Yoojin stammers, saying that he's not wrong. Big Bro can't honestly say that the whole thing was initially orchestrated by him. Noah and Yerim fly to where Yoojin and Yu He-yun are asking why they are now fighting. Suddenly, a fire shoots up to where the two are. The two were so shocked that they barely evaded it. Yerim then complains to her guild master, asking if he really has gone cray-cray. Yoojin also gets angry, scolding Yu He-yun for doing such a thing. Yu He-yun says that they are really starting to aggravate him, so now he plans to burn anything that gets in his way. Yoojin is surprised by such claims, while Yu He-yun continues to say how leaving them will only hurt and put his brother in danger. So he's cutting them in the bud now by burning those that will endanger his older brother. Brokan at its peak. Does anyone else think that the term Yandere Brokan applies here? Yoojin tells Yu He-yun to wait, asking his brother what he plans to do. Yoojin can't talk sense to his brother anymore, and he can't help thinking about what is wrong with his little bro. Looking at Hee-yoon's red eyes, Yoojin determines that those have already been red for some time, even though Iron is not within him. He also notices that even Iron is acting differently than usual. Yoojin ponders if this thing happening is a side effect of utilizing Iron's power. Upon realizing this, Yoojin immediately grabs Iron from Hee-yoon's shoulder, intending to dig deeper by using his skill. Stern Mother Hendril Sergeant, Iron doesn't reject the skill, and Yoojin gets engulfed in flames. Yoojin suddenly slumps on his brother's shoulder, and Hee-yoon looks back at his brother, wondering what's wrong with his big bro. Yerim sees this and asks what her guildmaster just did. Hee-yoon doesn't allow Yerim to get closer by sending her a slash of fire. Yerim remains unscathed from the fire attack, for Hee-yoon intervened with his fire-resistant coat. The CC guildmaster then tells her to be wary since the double effect of the attack skill is still active. Noah, who is also holding Chirpy, asks Hee-yoon if he plans to continue despite Yoojin being out cold. Hee-yoon answers that he will and looks up at Noah. He announces his intention to clean everything up before his brother regains consciousness, adding how his older brother will even be happy about it. That's not true, lil bro. MC wouldn't want you to do such a thing. Hearing that, Yerim gets totally angry at how her guildmaster has gone bonkers. She mentions how he is burning his own house just to clean up and asks if Hee-yoon really thinks that it will be effective against 3S rankers. In a different space, Yoojin gasps as he opens his eyes. He immediately sits up upon recognizing the ceiling. Yoojin then shouts that he is in the house that he and Hee-yoon used to live in. It was the house they shared back when things were still normal. Looking around, Yoojin questions what exactly is happening. A voice suddenly speaks up behind him in greeting. Yoojin looks back and finds Iron there with him. Yoojin calls its name, and it answers in confirmation. Wow, Iron can also speak like Ismuor. Though surprised by Iron's size, Yoojin asks if Iron can also create or use mind-related skills. Iron reaches out to Yoojin to be hugged, and he answers that this is Yoojin's skill. Holding Iron in his hands, Yoojin says he doesn't have such a skill. Iron enjoys Yoojin's touch while saying that Yoojin can. The fire elemental then explains that Yoojin can't control it yet, so he helped him to do so. Yoojin continues to pet Iron while mulling over how the skills are originally Diorama's and recalls what Jellyfish said about Diorama's successor. This makes him wonder if he can also use other skills as long as he delves further into Diorama's memories. But before he pursues that, he recalls the reason why he's there. Yoojin asks Iron if Hee-yoon's current actions were because of him. Iron looks up, confirming that it is indeed related to him. The fire elemental explains how this is because Hee-yoon has already accepted him. Oh, so this is Iron's fault. Right at that moment in the real world, Hee-yoon is facing Yerim without holding back. The intensity of Hee-yoon's attacks sends Yerim flying away. His next opponent, the CC guildmaster, manages to defend against Hee-yoon's attacks. However, Hee-yoon won't back down and continues to attack while still holding his brother's physical body. Back to where Yoojin and Iron's consciousness are, Iron explains how elementals are pure power. Hee-yoon's acceptance of him made him honest about his desire to be rid of the annoying stuff by utilizing his current power. Yoojin is skeptical about this, saying things don't work that way. Iron, who is now sitting on the floor in front of Yoojin, claims that it is because of the fire and that there is nothing they can do about it. It then adds that the element itself made Hee-yoon a tiny bit more violent while Iron makes a cutesy pose. The nonchalant claim annoys Yoojin, and he asks how it can even be dismissed as only a bit. Iron is cute, though, big bro. Seeing that he cannot do anything about it, Yoojin takes Iron again, saying he will check things with Hee-yoon. What matters now is that Iron helps Hee-yoon calm down. Iron replies that it isn't enough to resolve the matter because Hee-yoon is always restless and confused. Iron suddenly jumps away and says that only Yoojin can fix this. This, of course, is a surprise for Yoojin. So he asks the fire elemental what he must do. Going back to Hee-yoon and where the others are, Yerim shouts about slapping her guildmaster back to his senses. Noah, who is right behind her, says that he will support her and that they should focus on Hee-yoon's feet. Noah uses his healing hand skill on Yerim while Yerim activates her skill, Shadowless Day. The shadows dash to where Hee-yoon is, but he manages to easily deflect it by creating a wall of fire around him. Yerim curses for not being able to touch him with her shadow skill. Behind them, Hee-yoon jumps to some debris. He asks Yerim if it matters what object should touch Hee-yoon. Yerim confirms that it doesn't matter as long as it touches her guildmaster. Hearing that, Hee-Yoon-jae pulls out an item from his inventory called Gold Griffin's Feather. He explains how the item can attract the wind and open up the flames temporarily. Hee-Yoon-jae adds that this can catch their attention for a moment and that Yerim should take this chance to do something akin to light. Wait, is this real? Hee-Yoon-jae is willing to cooperate and even use an item. He then mentions that flames cannot really burn gravel easily. This gives Yerim an idea, and Hee-Yoon-jae says that this can be considered a gamble since Yoo Hee-yoon also has his skill deactivated now. He adds that they must get the timing right in one shot since it won't work the next time. Yerim thinks about how Yoo Hee-yoon's flames easily melted the Kraken as if it were nothing. Add to this the fact that she doesn't have fire resistance. If the flames merely grazed her, it would still surely. Her thoughts stop there and she murmurs about its strangeness. Yerim smiles, announcing that even though it is dangerous, she still wants to face this head-on. Hearing this, Hee-Yoon-jae smiles and says that Yerim is just like her guardian. With the item prepared and Yerim having mustered her courage, she and Hee-Yoon-jae go for a counterattack. Yerim floats atop the fiery blaze with Noah. Noah suddenly yells for Chirpy with worry. Seeing the state Chirpy is in, Yerim tells Noah to take the magic beast away from there. She then looks down at the flames, saying how she cannot get close, and wonders what is precisely happening to her guildmaster. Your guildmaster has his broken level up high. That's what. Back to where Yoojin and Iron are, Yoojin asks if Yoo Hee-yoon is being like that because of the anxiety he is feeling. Yoojin is so skeptical that he asks Iron about what even the youngest S-rank guildmaster could be worrying about, and if the Haeyeon guild is having problems or something. Iron suddenly shouts that Yoojin is anxious because of Yoojin himself. The fire elemental reminds Yoojin of how they finally made up and became close once more, but then Yoojin suddenly brings someone else and even calls that person a family. But it does not stop there. Yoojin brings another one whom he calls a friend and even lives with him. Yoo Hee-yoon watched his brother get hurt not only by magic beasts, but also by clients. There's also him entering a dungeon, and the most recent is Yoojin getting kidnapped and auctioned. Yoojin pales as he recalls how all of that indeed happened. Accept it, big bro. You matter a lot to lil bro, to the point that you're the cause of his anxiety. Iron says that he knows how Yoo Hee-yoon even promised to let Yoojin do his own stuff, but as much as possible, Yoo Hee-yoon wants his brother to be far from danger. He then yells about how Yoo Hee-yoon only has Yoojin and how Yoojin is the only one who truly loves Yoo Hee-yoon. Yoojin is taken aback by Iron's outburst and says that there can be others who love Yoo Hee-yoon. His brother can do this by making friends or even having a girlfriend. Undeterred, Iron shouts that Yoo Hee-yoon has no concern over such things and there's no way Yoo Hee-yoon will gain friends. His eyes get really angry as he screams that he's never gonna date as well. Ouch. That's too much, Iron. These claims only make Yoojin wonder if the fire elemental is actually cursing at his brother. Iron continues his explanation, saying that Yoo Hee-yoon worries about losing his older brother, who he deems the only person who cares for him. He adds that this is especially the case since Hee-yoon-jae did all those despicable things before. Back to where Yoo Hee-yoon and the others are, Hee-yoon-jae and Yoo Hee-yoon are facing off. Yoo Hee-yoon throws an attack while Hee-yoon-jae defends himself using his chains. Hee-yoon-jae can't help teasing Yoo Hee-yoon about being the jealous type. Hee-yoon-jae, this is seriously not the time for jokes. Yoo Hee-yoon talks back, saying there is no way he can be jealous of a thief. With his weapon ablaze, Yoo Hee-yoon thrusts it up into the air and prepares to slash as he announces that thieves must be annihilated. Yoo Hee-yoon doesn't hesitate in delivering a big slash of fire. Hee-yoon-jae deems the time proper and throws the gold griffin's feather through the flames. He shouts at Yerim that the path is now open, and Yerim quickly coordinates with Hee-yoon-jae. Yerim uses pale rain on top of Hee-yoon-jae's lightning to blast directly at Yoo Hee-yoon through the path opened by the gold griffin's feather. Unfortunately, Yoo Hee-yoon easily deflects this attack with just a single slash of his. He then quickly dashes, avoiding the lightning. Yerim exclaims how the ice evaporated before it even got to Yoo Hee-yoon. Yoo Hee-yoon heads off to attack Hee-yoon-jae, but before he can do so, he suddenly stops in his tracks, completely frozen. Behind him, Yerim has already used her skill, Shadowless Day. It's finally working. Yerim smiles, saying she expected her ice to evaporate, so she made sure that other stuff was in it. She then explains how pebbles are in it and asks her guild master if he only thought that the gravel in his way was mere fragments from Hee-yoon-jae's lightning attack. With Yoo Hee-yoon bound by Yerim's skill, Hee-yoon-jae is now free to attack Yoo Hee-yoon. The CC-young guildmaster summons a large amount of electricity above Yoo Hee-yoon and makes it crash down. The large explosion also creates a lot of smoke, and Noah wonders if it worked. He thinks that not even an S-ranker can get out of it unscathed. The smoke dissipates, and Hyun-jae is surprised that Yoo Hyun is fine. Yoo Hyun is crouching while still holding on to Yoojin. His sword is stabbed to the ground, efficiently serving as a lightning rod to avoid Hyun-jae's electric attack. Lil Bro did well in his studies and applies those in his fights, with the sword fully charged with flames and electricity. Yoo Hyun quickly stands up and kicks the sword. Hyun-jae sees this and is immediately able to tell that Yoo Hyun is planning to break his weapon and create a massive explosion. As Yoo Hyun did this, a bright light engulfed the area. Returning to where Yoojin and Iron's consciousness are, the two feel the tremble, and Yoojin asks about it. Iron smiles, explaining that this is because they are fighting outside. Yoojin pales as if only remembering now. He shouts that he must stop them and asks Iron about what he can do to remove his brother's anxiety. Iron says it is simple, explaining that Big Bro must reassure Yoo Hyun about how precious he is and how much Big Bro loves him. Yoojin looks closely at the fire elemental, wondering if it is serious about what it just said. Iron suddenly cries, asking Yoojin if he doesn't love Yoo Hyun. There's no way that would be the case. Iron. Yoojin quickly tries to calm Iron down, explaining that he used to say that when they were younger, but not after they've grown. With tears still in its eyes, Iron says that it is okay to say it to Yoo Hyun since Yoojin is not lying, and Yoo Hyun would even like to hear it from his big bro. It then adds how no one doesn't want to be loved, and this applies to everyone, even if they are not human. Back to the S-rankers fight. Yoo Hyun looks down on his opponent, who is a bit burning and down on one knee. Yoo Hyun comments on how he is still alive after all that. Hyun-jae holds onto his injured upper arm with a grave face, unlike his usual. Yoo Hyun doesn't really care, though, since he's pulling out more weapons out of a magic circle. The weapons struck in various places, with Yoo Hyun controlling them at will and foreign words littering around him in bright red lights. Yoo Hyun's eyes remain red as he uses his skill, Devourer of Cold Steel. This skill is yet to be explained in the manhwa, but it is Yoo Hyun's weapon-related skill. Before Yoo Hyun can do anything more against Hyun-jae, the CC Guildmaster smiles. He announces that Yerim is now done with her preparations. The ground suddenly starts to shake, and Yoo Hyun knows it is not because of his skill. Suddenly, a massive wave of water appears from all over, spiraling its way up, making Yoo Hyun more taken aback. Switching to Big Bro and Iron, Yoojin asks if comforting his brother is enough and if Yoo Hyun will always be like this whenever he borrows Iron's power. Iron assures Yoojin that this is only the case because Yoo Hyun is still not yet used to Iron. The fire elemental adds that if it ever gets overboard, Yoojin should just throw water on Yoo Hyun to cool his head. Wait, are you sure that's all it takes? Back to the fighting S-rankers, Yerim, who is wearing Hyun-jae's fire-resistant coat, takes complete control of the water and charges it straight at Yoo Hyun. At the same time, Yerim yells at Yoo Hyun to cool his head. Yoo Hyun quickly summons fire to defend himself against Yerim's attack. Yoo Hyun is so focused on defending that Yerim takes advantage of this moment to grab Yoojin away from him. The two S-rankers keep hold of Yoojin as another explosion blasts. Yoojin suddenly startles awake, looking at a different ceiling. He thinks about how he's finally back to reality, wondering what happened to the others. Beside him are both Yoo Hyun and Yerim, who both has an arm entangled with Yoojin's. I'm not surprised anymore. These two are clingy, after all. Yoojin looks at Yerim's pained, drooling face, who is cursing Yoo Hyun in her sleep. Yoo Hyun, who is still tired, somehow notices his brother's movements and calls for him. Yoojin reassures Yoo Hyun and tells him to sleep some more. Now that he is sitting up, Yoojin sees Noah, who is still in his dragon form. Noah sleep talks about rather taking on a Kraken than dealing with those two. Hearing this, Yoojin ponders at how severe the fight has been. Before leaving the room, Yoojin looks at Chirpy, who is also sleeping. Seeing that none of the kids were hurt, Yoojin feels a sense of relief. Yoojin looks around at the next room, wondering if he is still in Hong Kong. Thinking that they must be in a different hotel, Yoojin sees the news about what happened and how massive the destruction was. The news also reports the damage and how the hotel guests were mostly registered with fake identities. Yoojin pales upon seeing it, thinking how they caused more destruction than what the Kraken inflicted. He then goes down the stairs, assuming that no further damage will be caused by the Kraken. And then he suddenly realizes that there is still actually a problem. With a serious face, Yoojin is determined to resolve the issue regarding Hyun-jae's son. I'd only hope the guy doesn't make it hard for our MC. If the characters are playing cards, then he's definitely the Joker. Yoojin recalls Yoo Hee-yoon's words about Hee-yoon-jae's intention to get rid of everyone back when they were in the dungeon after facing Babar. Suppose Yoo Hee-yoon's claims are true, and Hee-yoon-jae still intends to do the same. In that case, Yoojin wants to distance himself and the others from the CC-young guildmaster, no matter how valuable he may be. As the oil gets heated in a pan and an egg is cooked, Yoojin mulls over Hee-yoon-jae's personality and plans on how he should check Hee-yoon-jae. He is determined not to be easily swayed when Yoojin suddenly sees Hee-yoon-jae smiling at him, with burns littering his body. Wow, Yoo Hee-yoon burned him good. Yoojin is so surprised while Hee-yoon-jae continues to smile, asking Yoojin's preference for breakfast. Yoojin's face is pale as he stammers about his preference for sunny-side-up eggs. Trembling, he suddenly changes the topic, asking Hee-yoon-jae about the burn. As if noticing it only just now, Hee-yoon-jae keeps his soft smile in place while explaining that the fire Yoo Hee-yoon used has the power to slow down regenerative skills, so the burns he gained from their fight will take some time to heal. Yoojin quickly shoots another question, asking about Hee-yoon-jae's fire-resistant coat. The CC-young guildmaster explains how he lent it to Yerim so she wouldn't get hurt. This surprises Yoojin, and then his face suddenly darkens as he brings up the topic of what happened in the dungeon where Babar was. Yoojin, clearly skeptical, asks how Hee-yoon-jae is now trying to protect the others from getting injured. Hee-yoon-jae smiles more, and instead of answering, he asks Yoojin if he now thinks of him as a nice person. Yoojin won't condone any of Hee-yoon-jae's BS, raising a fork against the S-ranker. Like that can do a lot of damage. Hee-yoon-jae serves the bacon and eggs on Yoojin's plate while he explains that it is part of his item management. He says that if Yerim gets hurt because of Yoo Hee-yoon, then Yoojin will be traumatized by it. Hee-yoon-jae claims that he can't have his item breaking since he hasn't used it much and he would like for it to work until he finally gets bored of it. Hearing this reconfirms Yoojin's perception of Hee-yoon-jae's personality. He then tells the CC-young guildmaster to stop talking as if he is an object since he doesn't own him. Yoojin also thanks him for going out of his way to protect Yerim while stabbing the egg yolk on his plate. He glares at Hee-yoon-jae while reminding him that if anything happens to his friends because of him, he'll make sure to erase him from the surface of the world using his skill. Hee-yoon-jae brings out his chains and smiles, saying how tempting Yoojin's words are, and he intends to find out what skill it is that can do such a thing to him. MC is probably referring to his final thanks skill. Apparently, that scene with him imagining a fight with Hee-yoon-jae is all in Yoojin's head. He stares at the still handsome despite the burns blonde guy, thinking he can't let such a thing happen, while Hee-yoon-jae simply stares back, asking what. Yoojin neatly cuts a part of his egg while thinking about how he should maintain his image of an unthreatening F-ranker. He believes that this is why Hee-yoon-jae is being nice to him. Yoojin speaks up, advising Hee-yoon-jae that he can ensure his item won't be lost by not laying a hand on any of his people. He reminds him never to cross the line since he knows where that line is already. Yoojin glares up at Hee-yoon-jae while the object of his contempt gently smiles back. Well, MC delivered his intent better and left the part about erasing the guy with his skill. All that to avoid a sudden fight with this S-ranker. Hee-yoon-jae is back to his accommodating personality, saying that he will comply for the kids. Then he asks Yoojin where his line exactly lies. Yoojin munches on his food and answers that his line will be adjusted in accordance with the situation. Hee-yoon-jae mulls over Yoojin's words, thinking how his reactions differ from usual. A loud scream about Yoo Hee-yoon is suddenly heard, and the kids finally get down the stairs, all of them still looking tired. Yoo Hee-yoon has a new bump on his head, and Yerim's punch is apparent on his face, while Noah has reverted back to his human form. Yerim yells for Yoojin, asking when he woke up. Yoojin answers and tells them to eat now. He really is a mother hen. He then asks how intense their fight was, that all of them were sleeping deeply. Yerim makes a face as she points at Yoo Hee-yoon, saying how she tried to stop him. Yoo Hee-yoon finally snaps awake and calls his brother. Yoo Hee-yoon looks apologetic as he apologizes to his brother for what happened yesterday. He then explains himself while Yoojin looks at both his brother and Iron, thinking how the two are back to normal and how Iron can't speak. Yoo Hee-yoon sits beside his brother by the counter. At the same time, Yoojin taps him on the back, explaining how Yoo Hee-yoon only did that because of the fire elemental's influence. He assures Yoo Hee-yoon that he will soon get used to this. Big Bro recalls how anxious his little bro is in his talk with Iron. The fire elemental told him how the brothers have been apart for years, and that Yoo Hee-yoon will be more at peace if they go back to the days when they were living together. Yoojin asks if this is why they are in their previous home. Iron confirms this, adding that it chose that place because it is actually Yoon's favorite place. It then explains how this is where they lived together before, so Iron also likes it. In my opinion, between the brothers, the Brokon really is heavier from Yoon's side. Yoojin finally understands and pulls Iron up for a hug. He mentions how he moved while thinking about how Yoon chose to leave back then. Yoojin thinks that Yoon should have chosen to live in a better place. Recalling their life before, Yoojin believes that his brother must have felt that he was still there and that there was no other place for him to call home. Yoojin rubs his younger brother's head, telling him to listen. He then reassures him that whatever happens, Yoon will forever remain his precious brother and that he loves him. Yoojin's actions and words surprise Yoon. Thanks for the dose of brotherly love that we'll never experience ourselves. Author Nim. Yoojin thinks he should make up for the time they didn't get to spend together and tells Yoon not to be anxious. He also assures Yoon that it is okay, since no one got hurt. Yoon's appreciation for his brother's love is apparent on his face, while Yoon points to himself, saying he got hurt. So Yoojin corrects himself, saying it's okay since no one died. This pisses Yerim, yelling how he shouldn't be too nice. Yerim then goes on about how she worked hard, so her guild master should make her some over-hard eggs. Yoon tells her to wait, shocking Yerim, who asks if Yoon will seriously make it for her. The doorbell rings, and Yoon looks over, saying they are finally there. Peace and So Yeong then appear. Peace runs in tears toward Yoojin while So Yeong follows behind the magic beast, completely worn out. Now let's enjoy a banner of Peace's arrival in HK. Peace licks Yoojin while Yoojin asks So Yeong how they got there. Though pale, So Yeong still manages to smile, explaining how it was because of her guild master. She says that she didn't manage to bring Blue with her and adds how Peace was being mean, and changes her words to how the magic beast got it hard with Yoojin gone. Yoojin looks at Yoon, who asks if Yoojin will be adding another star for his service as a guide. Wow, he is still role-playing as a tour guide. So Yeong then goes off about how hard it was, but she quickly trails off upon spotting Noah. Noah trembles and cries about how he misses the Kraken. Yerim then shouts at Yoon, complaining about her egg. Yoon simply replies that his household only has it over easy. You should have expected this to happen, Yerim. Though it's chaotic, the HK kidnapping has been taken care of. They also took their time enjoying themselves upon the suggestion of Yoojin's personal tour guide and took some pictures. Not forgetting the root cause of the incident, Yoojin also prepared himself on how he should teach the association a good lesson. Though it was a bumpy ride of kidnapping, auction, fighting Kraken, and S-Ranker's battle, the main goal is still to bring down the association. The news of Yoojin's disappearance filled the news, including how the association's security and credibility were questioned. Shiming Siyak even held a press conference regarding the truth of what happened, the Heian Guild Master's actions, and the follow-up on survivors. Shiming even cries in front of everyone, expressing the whole guild's desire for Yoojin's safety. I guess Shiming is responsible for inciting the drama while the others are away. The KHA chairman watches this, saying how Shimyong is obviously just making the matter worse for them. A staff then reports to him how the media and people are viewing the association negatively. The chairman stops him, saying they must focus on the actual incident instead of the rumors flying around. He then explains how Yoojin's kidnapping is because of the poor security of the detention center. The chairman then points out who the person in charge of this is. Understanding dawns on the face of the staff as he answers that it is Taewon Song. The chairman smiles, announcing that it is clear as day as to who should be responsible for all that happened. He then says that Taewon even said that he would be responsible for this, so they shouldn't really do anything about it. Seriously, Taewon, why would you even do that? Aside from Taewon's written apology regarding the matter, KHA finally responded to the accusations, saying that they would make sure to punish the person responsible. Seeing this most recent news, Yoojin can quickly tell that the association plans to place all the blame on Taewon and that the guy himself undoubtedly took the blame as well. Yoojin scratches his head, exasperated at how Taewon is living as the association's pushover. Hyunjae grabs a drink, saying Taewon will protect the association even if it means his own downfall. He then admits how he tried changing the guy numerous times, but nothing worked. Hyunjae says that Taewon would never threaten your life whatever you do with him, and at most, the guy would even protect you. Yoojin mulls it over, thinking that Taewon would never do anything to him since he's an F-ranker. At least our MC's F-rank status is helping him this time. Hyunjae gives Yoojin a glass as he asks what he plans to do now that the association is hiding behind Taewon. He then offers help, saying he can take care of the old people. Yoojin accepts the drink, saying that Hyunjae shouldn't worry since he is good with both kids and old people. Yoojin then borrows Hyunjae's phone since he obviously left his in Korea. He asks if Hyunjae has Taewon's number, and Hyunjae confirms, saying that it is even saved as sheepdog. How apt. Taking the phone, Yoojin sees that his number is saved as my item and scolds Hyunjae. He then proceeds to remove the word my, angry that Hyunjae is claiming possession of him. Hyunjae fake tears at Yoojin's action. Yoojin makes a call while Hyunjae watches over him, thinking how people would typically be angry for being called an item rather than the part about claiming possession. It makes him wonder if Yoojin really does not care or if it is because he views himself as a tool that he should use to achieve a goal. Let's just all agree that both of you are weird. And this is why some Fujo-shis and Fudan-shis tend to ship you. Taewon finally answers the call, asking why Hyunjae is calling so late. Yoojin playfully asks who he is, questioning if he is the officer's son, who simply allowed the poor F-ranker to get kidnapped. Taewon can easily tell that he is talking with Yoojin Hun. Yoojin jokes around, saying he's an unknown criminal. The following day in Incheon Airport, the people are abuzz while carrying placards with written apologies to Yoojin and hoping for his safe return. People were talking about what happened, saying how Yoojin was being sold in an auction and the association's involvement in what happened. But they try to keep it low since, aside from them, Taewon's song is in the airport, looking all serious. Some people even wonder out loud if Taewon is there to apologize. The staff present, along with Taewon, tries to talk him out of it, saying that he shouldn't take all the heat from what happened. Taewon ignores him and instead recalls Yoojin's words about being present at the airport for his arrival, or the association will truly get it. He thinks that Yoojin said that to have Taewon publicly apologize. Taewon thinks that Yoojin's plan is literally to become a victim to shake the whole KHA. It took you a long while to realize that. Suddenly, someone throws a sweet potato at Taewon, yelling and cursing about his presence. The old man who threw it complains some more, even adding how their tax money is basically useless. Other staff tries to calm the old man, and another tries to wet the food off Taewon's suit. But unlike everyone, Taewon remains calm and unmoving. Even reasoning out that the old man is correct since it is his fault, he is wholly resolved to take all the contempt of the people. The automatic doors for new arrivals open, and Yoojin, along with his brother, So-hyun, and bodyguards, make their appearance. Everyone shouts for Yoojin and even throws questions at him. Yoojin, the best actor in this manhwa, is all pale and rugged as he slowly makes his way while being held close by his brother. Yoo-hyun shouts at everyone that Yoojin needs rest, and they should ask their questions at a more appropriate time. Just then, Yoojin covers his mouth with his rugged blanket and whispers to Yoo-hyun to come closer to make him look more wretched. Yoojin then sees K1 bowing before them, and people start talking about how an S-ranker is bowing down low and how it might even be a good thumbnail. Might as well turn it into a meme. Taewon continues to bow down and delivers his heartfelt apology to Yoojin while seriously thinking about how doing this kind of thing is nothing for him. He doesn't care about the insults or hate he receives. What matters for Taewon is that the association won't be taking the blame. Taewon intends to protect the association with all his being, no matter what Yoojin Hun does. Unexpectedly, Yoojin grabs Taewon's hands, saying he shouldn't do such a thing. He then cries out that he is actually thankful to him. This claim confuses everyone, but Yoojin continues his speech about how Taewon even took all the blame just to have him rescued. He then goes on about how the association is even using Taewon as a scapegoat for trying to reveal the group's crimes. Yoo-hyun then grabs his brother's shoulder, reminding him that he shouldn't reveal that there. And the Best Supporting Actor award goes to Yoo-hyun Hun. Yoojin shows his lament that he can't take it anymore and his desire to do something about it. Everyone there starts talking about what's happening. The reporters shift their attention to Taewon, asking the details of what Yoojin just said, if he was framed, and the relation of the matter to the association's corruption. At the same time, Taewon's colleagues are crying heartfelt tears for the injustice that Taewon received. Taewon is so baffled by what's happening that he can't explain it well, and everyone else is just making their own conclusions on the matter. The association is now taking the heat of the matter, cleaning Taewon's name in the process. Lol. The tables are easily turned with our MC's single move. With everyone surrounding Taewon to get him to talk, Yoojin and his group make their exit. Yoojin looks back at Taewon with a smirk. And it is only then that Taewon finally realizes what is actually happening. Seeing this, Taewon cannot hold himself back and unleashes his weight manipulation skill. The pressure gets everyone around him down while the man himself clenches his fist in contempt. Taewon subtly smiles, thinking this is all part of Yoojin Hun's plan. Inside a moving vehicle, Yoojin is feeling unwell. Yoojin quickly asks if his big bro is okay. Yoojin assures him he is fine, explaining how he turned off his fear resistance skill for a moment. MC's tenacity is way up there, even if physically in fear. Big bro's trust for lil bro calms him mentally. Yoojin pulls himself together and directs Yoojin's attention to the tablet he holds, commenting on how he looks wretched in an image. By portraying himself as a victim, people are already commenting on what happened in the airport and talking about the association's role in the incident. Taewon is being labeled as a whistleblower, scapegoat, and sacrifice because of the victim, Yoojin Hun. This effectively made the people turn their attention to the association instead of focusing in on Taewon. Shimyeon looks back from the front of the car, asking if this is really okay since Yoojin usually doesn't like getting attention. Yoojin smiles at this, saying he should do this much to bring down the association. He then instructs Shimyeon to ensure that the articles can significantly pull at people's hearts by making a headline about what happened at HK, the money poured, and how some wealthy people made the awaken their slaves. Yoojin wants everyone to talk about him or the association for at least a week. Though he feels sorry for Taewon, Yoojin's priority lies in making the association pay for their crimes. The association is finally getting what it deserves. With the attention focused on the association, they received a massive blow from the media. Everyone, including the chairman, is in disarray for what happened. Still, they managed to soften the blow by claiming that the association is already investigating the matter regarding corruption and Officer Song's role is to make the investigation go smoothly. They even released a statement that Yoojin Hun simply misunderstood due to the confusion caused by the kidnapping. Their futile attempts to clear their name are laughable. Yoojin is on the sofa with Peace, looking at the association's response. Seeing this, Yoojin fights back by revealing what happened in the auction, like the smuggled S-rank equipment, making big news of how the association betrayed the nation. As Yoojin scratches his ear, he makes a call to reveal the culprit behind the crime that was supposed to be known in the future. Apparently, the man behind this is a higher-up from the KHA. With numerous cards to play, Yoojin sarcastically asks who will win their fight. Evidence of wrongdoings is before a higher-up, and the man trembles in fear. The man asks if Yoojin is blackmailing him, but Yoojin only laughs, reminding the man that this is all on him. Yoojin says he can easily expose this, but he is still playing nice, so he suggests that the man step down and get replaced. The man won't accept this without a fight and accuses Yoojin of wanting to place his own people in the association. He then threatens to release articles about what Yoojin is doing but stops short when he sees Yoo Hee-yoon and Noah glaring at him. Nope, you can't threaten our MC on their watch. Yoojin tells the two to sit down, and he thinks about what the man just threatened. He then says it won't be a problem for him since the people he will suggest are the association's original members who literally have no connection to him. Yoojin says there is no assurance that the people will believe such news. In the case that they do, the worst thing they can do to him is have him on house arrest and simply raise magic beasts. Yoojin reminds him that it won't be the same for the other man if this evidence gets released. He gives the man two options. Either he gets destroyed by the people, or he resigns from his position without damaging his reputation. Either way, you're out of the association. Yoojin asks the older man as he crosses his legs, while Yoo Hee-yoon and Ever the Brocon reminds Yoojin not to cross his legs. With that, the man runs from the office crying while Yoojin shouts that he shouldn't worry since the one replacing him is better at the job. Right outside, a queue of people is waiting for their turn to talk with Yoojin. It's literally a queue of their downfall. From then on, they continue dismissing the corrupt association members using the same method. The news then is filled about how members are stepping down as a form of taking responsibility, and there are requests for predecessors to return to their original positions. Yoojin is playing with Peace and Chirpy when he sees this news, glad that what they did was effective. He starts wondering how many are still left when he suddenly hears the sound of someone opening the door to his place. Considering the hour, Yoojin asks who it could be and wonders if it is his brother who is back early. As Yoojin approaches the entryway with Peace, a man in a suit with blood stains appears. The menacing aura of Taewon with bloody hands looms over them. Seeing this makes Peace immediately use his gigantification skill. Yoojin asks how Taewon got in, and he can't help wondering if the man is there to get rid of him for getting in the association's way. Oh, this looks bad. Are we getting a repeat of their first meeting? Taewon lifts this clenched, bloodied hand toward Yoojin, and Yoojin curses Hyunjae in his head for trusting his words about how Taewon would never remove him from existence. Suddenly, Taewon's bloody hand opens, handing Yoojin an entry card. Taewon explains that it is a key to Yoojin's place that the association made and kept secret. Yoojin is surprised while Taewon continues to explain that he brought it to him before some miscreant got hold of it. He also reminds Yoojin to be careful. Yoojin looks up at Taewon and asks about the owner of the key. Taewon then looks away, saying that the person is alive and he only used a little force. Aha, so why are you looking away? Yoojin mulls over Taewon's words, thinking how the stubborn official beat up an association executive to ensure his safety. Though Taewon is glaring down at him, Yoojin wonders if Taewon did all of this because a civilian like him is more important than the association. Taewon looks at Peace and speaks up, but Peace growls at him, and even Chirpy angrily peeps at him. Taewon continues, saying that Yoojin has every right to be confident since he has magic beasts tamed. But just the same, Taewon says that someone like Yoojin is too fragile to be the leash for all of those beasts. Yep, he's referring to the S-rankers around Yoojin. Yoojin's face darkens as Taewon reminds him that a single bite from those could mean his end. Yoojin glares at Taewon, claiming that his kids don't bite. Taewon shoots back that he does as he turns to leave. Yoojin looks again at the key card, thinking he is sure of it. He then thinks about how Taewon left all the mark to serve as a warning of his willingness to resort to violence when necessary. Yoojin then looks up, thinking that this also means that Taewon is not a blind lapdog who follows every whim of the association. Yoojin then points to his neck, reminding Taewon about how he bit him once. MC is referring to what happened back at the end of chapter 69. Yoojin mentions how 4 people already resigned and how this would be a good change for the association, especially for Taewon. He also says that he is not a leash, for he is merely setting up the stage for Taewon to save more people when necessary. Taewon thoughtfully thinks of Yoojin's words as he tells him that this only makes things more complicated for him. He starts to walk away, telling Yoojin that he should stop replacing the people in the association, and is about to say goodbye. Yoojin suddenly holds Taewon on the shoulder, asking where he plans to go. Taewon looks back and Yoojin flails around, saying he can't leave, acting as if asking Taewon for a compliment. Yoojin then invites Taewon to have lunch with him. He plans to get close to Taewon by starting with food, similar to how he got close to Peace. Seeing the way Yoojin is acting, Peace finally deactivates his skill. Good job protecting our MC, Peace. Yoojin pulls on Taewon's arm while the bulky man asks if it is even appropriate. Yoojin answers that he is the enemy of the association and not Taewon. Yoojin believes that Taewon may be twisted, but he is still a good person. Yoojin says he'll order chicken and beer, and while they eat, they can enjoy their time talking crap about Hyunjae. That's a great way to pass the time and bond. The last part ultimately gets Taewon's attention, and he finally acquiesces to Yoojin's offer for lunch. Yoojin is happy about this, while Peace only stares up at his dad with knowing eyes. Yoojin is so relieved that he finally finds common ground with Taewon by applying the saying, "The enemy of my enemy is my friend." In a different part of the city, Hyunjae looks out his floor-to-ceiling windows, finding his ears itchy. Aside from the people directly involved in the matter, a particular person in hiding is also affected by what is happening. With the numerous executives of the association quitting, Seokwon Choi, the MKC guild master, finally reappears. Can't believe that this guy is still alive. Seokwon is talking on the phone, and the person on the other end is telling him they can't look after him anymore. Seokwon pales and yells upon hearing this. He tries to complain, but the call suddenly cuts. Seokwon curses and throws his phone. Ever since what happened in the dungeon with Hyunjae and Yoojin, he had escaped to avoid getting arrested. Aside from hiding, the MKC guild is on the decline, and the executives who were taking care of him are now backing out. Seokwon curses again in his current situation, pondering what he could do. Suddenly, a long tentacle hand caresses his face, and the owner comments on how Seokwon has fallen hard. Jellyfish looks down on Seokwon, narrating about his failure to do the lizard owner's bidding and losing his guild. She then asks him why she should keep someone like him alive. Seokwon shrieks in fear and pleads for mercy, claiming he still has some connections outside Korea, and he will do anything to bring back his guild. The filial piety addict thoughtfully looks at him and decides to give him a chance since she does need someone to do her bidding. But words aren't enough, so she inserts her tentacles into Seokwon Choi, making him choke in pain. Jellyfish says she prepared something fun for him if he fails. She claims that this is her act of mercy to provide him with a choice. Jellyfish announces that they should make a new contract while Seokwon cries as he endures the pain. Jellyfish smiles widely as she reminds that Seokwon's life depends on this. Right now, this guy has no choice in the matter since his life is on the line. But who cares? None of us will really miss him, Tilda.